If you've been in like this in-between season, you feel like you're transitioning, you feel like you're still figuring it out, you feel like 2026 did not start off the way that you wanted it to start off, then this is the video for you. Okay, like this is such an in-between season for me, and what a way to return back to YouTube, right? So let's go ahead and talk about my life update. Hey y'all, welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. My name is Anaja. If you are new here, I am a media girly. I love all things fashion and beauty and lifestyle. I am a believer. I love having me a good old time, and that's what we're gonna do today. While I give you guys this life update, this is meant to be like a very cutesy yap session, you know, for people who just want to be able to unwind a little bit. And while we are unwinding, we have to get to some things, okay? Like there are a few things that we need to talk about since my last upload, which was 2 years ago already, which is crazy. You guys saw me on that video at like a red carpet movie premiere, I think for the Bob Marley movie. And I was a working girly, and now I am in a season of being a freelance or independent media girly after being laid off. And so for those who do not know, like the entertainment industry is kind of like a little topsy-turvy right now. Like it's kind of going through like a renaissance, like some type of transition, I feel, because there has been a lot of massive layoffs, just like at every media outlet, and no one is exempt. It's given no one is safe, okay? And I unfortunately have been impacted by that. My role actually was eliminated, and it was me and like 4 other people at my job, like on my team and other teams that had got laid off at the same time. And it's interesting because I didn't necessarily think that it was not possible, but I also just felt like, you know, being on my specific area within the company was a little bit more needed, in the sense that everyone needs like a social media producer. Like everyone needs someone to go out there and go to red carpet events, right, and produce content around like our faves, your faves, you know, media people, entertainment people, celebrities, singers, actors, actresses, directors. But unfortunately, I was impacted by the layoffs, and it's been an interesting time period for me. First things first, I feel like when you have goals and dreams, when you experience an in-between season like the one that I'm experiencing, it is a hard pill to swallow. It's one of those things where it's just like, wait a minute, you know, I did all this hard work. I am educated. I, you know, built up my work portfolio. Why is this happening, or how could this happen? This season has really taught me that there is no such thing as like job stability. Not to sound jaded or like not to sound negative or anything, but what it really comes down to is like, yeah, having on the you're an at-will employee at any given time, your job could be on a chopping block, okay? And that's something that I learned, you know, like with this first job, I always like to say this was my big girl job. So it wasn't my first job ever, but it was like the first job I had, which I felt like really pushed my career forward. And it's so interesting that I've learned so much about corporate America as well as the industry, but just really like the politics of work and like office culture, and it's all a game. At the end of the day, it's all a game, honey. So first things first, the in-between season is not for the weak. Okay, when you have goals and dreams and you are believing God for bigger, it's one of those things that you really, really have to like keep reminding yourself that you are okay and God got you, because you are literally believing for something that you cannot see. Like right now, it's looking like the industry is just plummeting. But I have to believe that there is greater for me and that God is preparing greater for me. And it's not easy. Like, my human side hates all of this. Okay, like, I hate kind of just being like in this waiting room, just being in this waiting season, trying to figure it out, trying to trust, and still at the same time like existing in my day-to-day life. Like, it would be different if I didn't have like goals and dreams and aspirations, but it's another thing when I'm like, there's still things I want to do, and this feels like a pause, this feels like a bump in the road, and I don't like it. Just being real, I'm very much so a planner, and you guys can probably relate to that. Like, when you're ambitious and you have goals and dreams, like, there's some part of you that is somewhat probably planning your life, like, things you want to accomplish by a certain age or things that you want to experience. And now, wow, I used to be really, really bad with that. I have since learned, through life's experiences, that my life is not my own, in the sense that I cannot plan everything to a T, and that's exactly how it's going to go. And so in this season, that lesson has been at the forefront of my mind. Like, I've been reminded of that. Like, sometimes things happen the way that they happen, when they happen, how they're supposed to happen, and all I can do is continue to press forward. Like, for me, it's heavy on the no eyes have seen, no ears have heard, okay? Like, I really do believe that, I am purposed, I am graced. Like, there are things that I am here to accomplish, as we all are. Like, if you have air in your lungs, like, you have a purpose that's greater than you. And I just feel like, I'm going to get there, you're going to get there, we're going to get there. But sometimes, unfortunately, there may be detours. Sometimes there may be pauses or bumps in the road for whatever reason. I feel like it's flexing like a muscle, or like it's building a skill that we didn't know that we needed. Like, I feel like for me, I'm learning to rest for the first time. Like, I was in school my whole life. So, you go through school, like, of course, like elementary school, high school, undergrad, and then I did grad school too. So it's like, in between all of that, I was interning. I probably had part-time jobs. Like, I've just been on the go since forever. Even in high school, I was doing like high school journalism media programs and like after school matters. And I just always was a busy girl, always heavily involved in extracurricular activities and balancing work and school at the same time. So really now, as a 30-year-old, this is like truly the first time that I am like resting. And that is so crazy to say, because it's like, I've really been grinding this whole time. Like, I've really been working hard this whole time. And now, I don't regret that. I appreciate that about myself, because I was sowing seeds, okay? Like, I was really like building the foundation of my life and building what I wanted to be and become and what I want my life to look like. And I do think that that is important to do, and that's something that I am going to continue to do. But I am understanding that I have been forced to sit down, honey, okay? Like, God was like, sit down, my child, okay? In this season, in these months, you just need to chill out a little bit. And that's something that I kind of realized, being sat a little bit. I'm just like, oh, okay, this is like the first time that I even have this time on my hands. And by the way, the days are going so fast regardless. I'm just like, I feel like time is going by so fast. So even though I am able to rest a little bit, it's like I still been doing a lot of self-work. I've definitely, and like personally and professionally, and specifically when it comes to professionally, I've, updated my resumes, and I've created a portfolio, and I've done informational interviews, and I've been interviewing for jobs and, getting into the freelance space, like doing freelance work at an award show and building my own brand, okay? And we're going to get into that a little bit later, but these are things that I have been like working on. It's just in the interim, Okay, it's just like, this is uncomfortable. Okay, heavy on the uncomfortable. I just think about how, like, when I was working, how I did not have work life balance at all. Like, there will be times where I will be working like 6 days a week. And it would just be like so crazy and so intense. And I realized, like, I was stressed. Like, I think I was burning out. And, like, these are things that people around me were able to notice and I wasn't. So, like, I've definitely had friends that would say, like, girl, you was giving stress, like, or you're burnt out. Like, that's what this is. That's what you're experiencing right now. And I wouldn't even, like, realize it because I was in the thick of it. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved what I was doing in the sense that this was one step closer to my dreams. I was getting exposure. I was learning on the go. I was learning on the job. I was, utilizing like those resources and just really being there's something special about being in LA when you want to work in entertainment because there's always something going on. There's always an event going on. There's always a premiere, an award show. There's always some type of like photo shoot set or something that I needed to be on. There was always someone that I needed to interview. There was always a story that needed to be published. There was always content that needed to be produced. And, I'm very, very thankful for that experience and just seeing that I can do it. And these are things that I've been wanting to do for so long. And just really being able to do those things really filled me with so much purpose because I felt like I was in alignment. That does not negate the fact that I still was like worked down to the bone. Like, it's just crazy to even think about. I'm like, wow. I was working hard. I was working so much and I wasn't taking care of myself as well as I should have. And specifically when it came to rest. Like, I was not resting. I was not getting proper sleep. I was stressed and I was trying to incorporate, have that balance of a social life, but there were things that I missed. There were events that I just couldn't go to with my friends or things that I had to cancel last minute. And in this new season that I'm in and that I'm continuing to walk in, I really want to have a little bit more ownership. Like, I really want to have a little bit more ownership of my time, of, my career and like the content and the media that I'm producing. And that's something that's really important to me, being able to sit back in this time frame and just realize like, what do I really want my life, my career to look like when it's not dictated by someone or something else. Being that I'm no longer a beginner or like entry level in my career, it is time to think a little bit more strategically, because it's like I've been to award shows, I've been on red carpets, and I've collaborated with celebrities, and I've done all the things. I reported and produced and I wrote and I edited and I scripted and I've created, new concepts from scratch for another brand. And it's like, if I can do all of that for a brand, for a company, why can't I do that for myself? We've been socialized to work for someone else, to work hard and, do all these things. But when it comes to time to do these things for yourself, there's like a little transition. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at too, where I'm like, I will put so much hours and time into building up another person's brand. I can now do that for myself. So these are things that in this new season that I'm definitely incorporating into my life. So while I am in this in-between season and I'm transitioning, it's not all bad because there's been a lot of self-realization in this season and there's been a lot of growing pains. There's been a lot of, strategizing, heavy on a lot of prayer, okay? And just realizing that I am still purposeful. I still have goals and dreams and aspirations. Like, I still have life in my lungs. Like, there is so much that I, want to accomplish and very much so can accomplish, amen, that I cannot let this season bog me down. So, like, whatever my future may look like, and I trust that it's great, I just have to understand that I have to get through this to get to the other side. At the beginning of this year, I turned 30, guys. Yes, I am a 1996 baby. And what I realized is that, or what I thought at first going into the season, was that everyone had it together. Like, for some reason in my mind, I think just growing up, being around older people, like in my mind, I always thought that they had everything together. That is the biggest myth. Like, I just feel like it's so many of us who are still figuring it out, whatever that looks like for you. And it really looks different for everyone. Like, you know, some people are getting married, having kids. Some people are figuring out their career. Like, some people are living at home. Like, some people are finishing school, you know, and it's like we are all in such individual spaces and paces in our lives. And I had to learn grace. Just because there's a bump in the road for you, like, doesn't necessarily mean that that is the end or that's it. And that's something that I have to remind myself, like, no matter where this season takes me, wherever that may look like, I will be fine. And it's not something that's easy, because it's like, well, what am I doing? What is next? Like, where am I going? Like, what's actually happening? It will be okay. You know, we're all trying to figure out life the best way that we can. You know, we're all trying to better ourselves. I just think that when it comes to these different seasons, there's no race. There should not be any comparison, and just realizing that you are exactly where you are supposed to be, where you're supposed to be. And that is also a very hard pill to swallow, because it's like, what do you mean I'm right where I'm supposed to be? But I do feel like there's learning lessons in every season, or at least that's what I'm realizing. Like, I feel like if I wasn't sat down in this season, then I would not have realized what I've realized about myself, with giving myself more grace, embracing rest, and also just learning to trust God a little bit more. And it's not easy. None of it is easy. So I'm not saying that. I hope it doesn't come across as that. But it's one of those things where it's like, it is a flex. Like, it is a muscle that is being worked. Now, when it comes to future living, so currently I am in LA, and I am trying to figure out, like, what's next, where's next for me. Like, is it staying in LA? Like, is it moving somewhere else? I don't know if, like, New York is for me. People have told me that they can see me in New York, but I don't know if New York is for me. But I will say something that I've always really liked the idea of is living BiCoastal. Like, if I can have homes and properties in two different places and just come and go as I please, that is ideal for me. That is like the dream, because having that type of freedom and that autonomy is really important. Especially having a background of just needing to be more stationary. I'm like, if I can build out a career where I can just travel and do my work and do my thing, I would absolutely love that. So that may be what it gives, as I am operating in this freelancer media girly space. Future wise, I definitely am getting into ownership, and we talked about that a little bit earlier when it comes to just owning my time, having autonomy over myself, and just, you know, really pouring into me and my craft in whatever way that may look like. You know, I have many interests. Like, I have interests just all across the board, like media, TV, books, movie, book, TV adaptations, like that whole ecosystem, beauty, lifestyle, fashion, and travel, of course. And so these are things that I'm really passionate about, and I shouldn't have to limit myself. You know, like, I have these interests for a reason, and it's something that I want to continue to build and grow and really cultivate. And yeah, just be on the lookout. You know, this journey, I'm telling you, like, guys, this is truly like my becoming season. This is me becoming her. This is me, like, really just transitioning and really, you know, becoming the woman that I want to become. And so I'm definitely going to take you guys along this journey in whatever capacity. Make sure you are definitely tuned into my other socials at Amor Anaja on all platforms. Also, guys, I have a little cutesy project called Conversations with Anaja, and that's going to be continuing to roll out content over there. So make sure you guys are subscribed and following that as well, because I do have some special things coming up over there on that brand. Now, something that is really important in this season, which I'm very, very grateful for, is my support system. Because when you are going through just like that in between, or like you're transitioning, or you going through like growing pains, it's really important to have people in your corner who loves you regardless. Like, who's going to support you, who's going to listen to you, who's just going to affirm you in whatever capacity. So I'm very thankful for my friends and my family, my therapist. Listen, okay? And just also just having like an active prayer life. Like, it's so important to really make sure when you are in these like weird moments in time that you really lean into who genuinely loves and care about you, and practice a lot of self-care. Give yourself grace. I'm preaching to myself right now, okay? Like, these are things that unfortunately I feel like we have to learn. Like, we have to learn these things. They're not innate, they're not ingrained. You just kind of learn as you go, like what you need, what your body needs, because y'all know the body stores, okay? The body remembers, and it's going to catch up to you regardless. And I would hate to see you guys having breakdowns and things like that. And don't get me wrong, because I definitely have my moments where I'm like, what am I doing with my life? So it's real. But you give yourself that day, self-care, relax, and get up and try again. Lastly, wrapping up this video, I did want to get into frequently asked questions, because I feel like so many people that I've met throughout my life have been very curious about my career and what I do and what it's actually like. So, the first question that I received was, who's the most interesting person I've interviewed? Okay, this is such a good question. I feel like I've met some pretty good people. Now, as far as who I've interviewed, though, I would say Mariah Carey, because I had interviewed her ahead of like this TV special. It was like a music special, like the 50th anniversary, and I had, I think, like 9 minutes with her, and it was just so nice, guys, because she is Mariah Carey. Like, okay, goated, legend, Mimi. My favorite album of hers is Emancipation of Mimi Honey. That album is a classic. I really need to look into getting it on vinyl. Like, it's just that good. And I feel like talking to her, she's so nice, like, and she's so glamorous. Like, someone said that she is like the last like diva of this generation, or like of this era, and I can believe that. And she's humble and she's confident, but you can just tell like she's so esteemed and so established, and I'm like, I love that. She's so glam and very particular. So I would say that her answers to my questions were very nice, very fun, and you know, like, her personality, I feel like she is who she is. Like, what you see is definitely what you get. Someone asked, what's been my favorite part of journalism, working in media so far? I would say my favorite part of working in journalism is truly getting to know the people who are on our screens. And so just being able to talk, for example, to Simone Biles, or the cast of The Color Purple, or Coco Jones, like, you know, different people who are in the music space, and interviewing them on a spot or doing articles about them. It's like so interesting, because you really realize that they are human. You know, just humanizing them has been a really cool part of my experience as well, because it's like, you'll realize celebrities get nervous too. You know, like, they care about how they present themselves too. Like, they're human. And so what I've realized is that, wow, like, you are truly just like me. Like, we're just like each other. Like, and I would say, in addition to that, as far as like working in media, as a whole, I would say just the exposure, being able to do really, really cool things or be in really, really cool rooms or like traveling for work. Like when I traveled to New York for the Met Gala and did some content with Usher. What? Like, huh? Like, things like this just does not happen on a day-to-day basis. And so these are things that I really enjoyed, in my journey, and being able to go to Vegas for CinemaCon and being able to be previewed movies that are going to be coming out like a year or two before you guys ever know about it. So it's like, wow, like this is like insider scoop that I can really appreciate. And it's something that I value because it's like, especially as someone who consumes this type of media as well, being that liaison. As a journalist, I like to look at myself as a liaison between the public and celebrities and like their art form, and me being able to be in the middle and be able to like tell you guys about it and create exclusive content around it. It's like, this is such a blessing. It's a privilege. It's something that I take very seriously and I'm very passionate about. That is all today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed our yap session, and there will definitely be many more to come. And yeah, follow me on my socials. I will be seeing you guys very, very soon, and be on the lookout for a special project that I'm working on. Until next time, bye.